Today I'm going to show you how to put together the graduation explosion box. So first we'll put together the panels with the words and the years. So you can see this is how they layer. So we start with that top layer. We want to add glue to that layer because it's just easier than dropping down something with glue on it. So you can see just go around the numbers. And then you want to do the alternate color next. So I usually put that down up and then just match it that way. So you can see where the holes are for any numbers with holes in them. And then go ahead and do the same thing with the last panel to show through the colors for that middle piece. If you have excess glue, we just want to make sure they're not near the holes, but don't worry about other places as we'll be gluing it onto the actual box. Be careful with glue on your fingers. Then we'll do the same with the You Did It panels. So with the it's easy because there's no holes in any of the letters. So you just have a background, red background. Go ahead and glue that on and put it aside. And then with the U, we have the middle of the O, so we'll have a little red background and then another white one to show through that middle O. So as you see again, take that top panel and line it up this way so you visually can see where the holes are in the letters. And then add the white panel. You don't have to add that much glue around, just enough to get it on. Again, you'll be gluing it onto the larger box. So later on you'll be adding more glue to the back of that, or adhesive, whichever you use. And last we'll do that did. And I'm using a fine tip applicator, which if you're familiar with my videos, I use a lot to control my glue, especially in small areas. So the biggest key here in the layering, it gets easier as you do more, is just making sure that you line it up and add glue to the piece you're gluing onto rather than the piece that you're gluing on, if that makes sense. Else you could drop it and the glue could get somewhere and go in the wrong place. And there, those are ready. So here's the box. And I usually, with the exploding boxes, I want to fold it in and then out. So when you open the box, they're a little bit looser than most folds. When you open an explosion box, you want it to kind of explode out. You want the flaps to come out pretty easily. So usually I fold them a little bit extra. And you can see these little cut lines. Those are going to help us place the gift card holder. So for me, I added just a couple pencil marks right so I could see it better on the black. So it'll help guide where I need to place this. And you see how we fold this gift card holder, and you'll fold those tabs down and then up because we'll be gluing it on top. It's going to basically go like this. You want to center it best you can. Eye it, because if you don't center it, it may not close right on one side. So you want to kind of carefully center it with that line, the tab on that line. So you want to line up that edge of that tab to that line and make sure it's centered in other ways. And then you can apply pressure. And you'll do the same on the other side, where you add glue to that tab and then you'll gently fold it up and line up that edge, tab edge, with that line. It's really key to get it centered on the first tab, and then just apply pressure. And you see they will fold in and the flap won't stick out. So now we're ready to add the panels to the inside of the box. So you want the you did it to be in a row. So you want to put the you first and then did in the next column and then it. So I made it such that if you place it a certain way, anyways, if they're looking at it and they're looking at you did it, the year will be facing them down in the middle opposite, and you'll see. So I just go around, just center it there. And if you have any excess glue, just make sure you clean it up. I usually have a wet paper towel handy to clean up my little smudges. Sometimes I put too much glue on the edge and it leaks out the edge for me. I'm sure everybody has that issue, but I think I pay attention and then I don't. Like then. And then we'll add the year tab. Now you could put it to the side, or the year panel I should say, but you could put it to the side if you want on one of the other panels, but I just put it directly opposite of the did, and you see it faces towards you, so if they were to open it from that direction. I did get a little glue on 2018, so I was trying to get it off. And then we'll add the other two solid panels. I embossed these a little bit since I didn't have any other embellishments on it. I leave these blank on purpose because a lot of people add school logos or the person's name that's graduating. These are good places to put that. Or you could also eliminate the 2018 label. And you could just put a solid one there as well if you didn't really care about the year. And put something else there. A lot of people put just different kind of, maybe a diploma, something to that effect that you can find easily. An image out there. Or I do love when people theme it to the schools that they graduated from. So that's the reason why I don't add a lot to this card other than colors, because they are so customizable. So I forgot to, or actually had a video malfunction. So this is how you would glue on that middle panel. See it kind of center it, and just to show you how I did that. Cut another piece. And then here's how we assemble the lid, the middle of the lid. We'll add the top hat part after this. So you just add glue to each of these side tabs. And get it in the right angle for you. What works for you best. You want to line up the adjacent edge to the tab fold. And you see I have a little wet towel to get rid of the excess glue. Be careful with the glue. Just try not to get it too close to the fold and not too heavy. I switched to a fine tip applicator so it could control how much was coming out. And then you're doing the same along all the tabs. And just making sure you're applying pressure along those tabs as you glue them and before going to the next. Because sometimes when you don't do that and you do it prematurely, it'll bubble up or something to that effect if you don't apply pressure from the outside and inside at the same time. You see it's conforming to the shape of the box. Just make sure you get it lined up properly and all will be good. It'll fit well. And then the last one. Sorry about the lighting here. I had a couple video issues as I stated earlier. Thought it was recording, it wasn't, so I had to re-record. So this is a portion I re-recorded. And just make sure you have that a paper towel handy if you're messy with glue like I am. And then here, the way it closes, to show you without the top of the hat, you just flip them in and line up the sides. Line them up so the sides of the lid match up with the sides of the box. And now we're just going to glue on the hat. And you can see you can put it at different angles. It's really up to you. I like the point facing one edge, the edge with the 2018. But no matter how you rotate it, it's going to look like that at one point. So I just put it upside down, that top square for the top of the hat. And then I just determine where I want it. You could always put pencil marks there lightly if you have the right place. This is really eyeing it. There's no big mistakes. This still will look good if it's slightly off. Just carefully place it, make sure it's at where you want. I put glue a little bit away from the edges, so if I want to adjust it a little bit before I apply pressure, I can do so fairly easily. And then once I want it set, you can see I apply pressure to the middle of that lid, the hat lid. And I got a little glue on the top. For some reason I was having some glue issues today. And then you can see once you put it on, it kind of looks like a graduation hat, huh? Just need a couple other things. So now we just need to add the tassel and the little middle button to the top of the hat. So we have two instructions on how to do a paper tassel, or I'm also going to show you how to put together a tassel out of twine, or any other, I guess ribbon would work too. So first what I do, because I want it to be raised a little bit, I use a little foam adhesive that pops up so I can easily add that tassel when I have it done. So I'm just figuring out where I want to place it before I pushed it down. So you could also use a big brad, and you can see this is how it would go. This is not the final tassel, but here, that was an example. So here's how you can do it out of paper, and this is included in the file if you don't have twine. This is 10 pieces, I believe. Kind of just put them together. I wouldn't worry too much. I just want to line them up, make sure that the edges match up. It's a little bit cumbersome to do this, but I wanted to give you options with paper and with twine, because most people have twine. So I'm just making sure that they're lined up. That's probably the hardest part before I move on to the next step. And I am a little bit slower with this, so bear with me, because I think you do need to take your time when you're doing this. I made them so they were almost the right size, so it wouldn't hit the table when it was on. But you can always adjust the size of the twine or whatever you attach it with. I'll explain that after this. So you want to fold it over in half best you can. I did have a long piece there, so I'm trying to figure out how to adjust it. Again, this is a little bit cumbersome, so but I want to give you the option. I think it looks fun both ways. And then as you're getting it settled, I'm kind of pushing it in to hold it in place at the top. I'm creating a loop so you can place whatever you're going to attach it to the hat with. So in this case, I had another piece of twine. If you didn't have that, you could use a thin piece of paper. I just want to show you that it does go through that top part. I'm not tying it yet because I don't want to let go of all these pieces of paper. I'm adjusting them. And you take that other little piece that's in the file, and you want to wrap it around. Now, you could add double sticky tape to it first before you wrapped it around, but I actually wrapped it around tight as I could where I wanted it placed. And I'm just holding it in place. I want to make sure that's where I want it to be. Again, I would recommend double-sided adhesive or something to that effect, so it's easy and it'll glue it onto the actual pieces too. But in my case, I just glued that back piece on to secure it. The only problem with that is that it will move up and down. So once you get it in place, I just don't like to do things permanent to start with because I want to be able to adjust it a little bit. And then you can just cut the edges to even it up a little bit, just the ends so it looks more even, and you could fluff it up a little bit too. You see I haven't tied that on yet. That's about a 10-inch cut, about 10 inches of twine. So you can go ahead, it's a little bit larger than 10 inches, so it'll hang off the side the way I want, but you'll want to just eye it before. So it's safe to do like a 11-inch piece or something to that effect. And then cut off the ends here after you tie a knot, and then you can hide that knot underneath the paper. And you can flare out that paper a little bit more so it hides it. So that's one way with paper. I'm going to show you with twine. So as I was stating before, we're going to cut 2 pieces this time. One around 8 inches. That's going to be wrapped around to create the top piece, to tie around, I should say. And the second one is going to be, I'm making it almost a foot, so I have a little leeway. So I just use my hand, but you could use like a 3.5-inch piece of cardstock, and I wrap it around 10 times. And you can see I started where you want the beginning and end of the twine to hang down a little bit. So you want to cut that last piece so it's hanging down. So consider that bottom portion the bottom of the tassel. You want to kind of pull the ends because you don't want to lose the form. And I'm taking the long piece, which was about a foot, and I'm just kind of adding that to the top. That's what we're going to attach it to the hat or loop. This is a loop that will go on the top of the hat. I didn't tie it quite yet. I just wanted to tie it temporarily until I know the size I need. And the second one goes underneath. So this is the 8-inch. What you're going to do is tie it and cross over, and then you're going to flip it over carefully while applying pressure. Then tie it, just flip it over. You're creating that little piece around the top so you can see individual pieces of twine. You could do this with a gold or silver piece. And I did it 3 or 4 times. And then added a knot. So you might want to try this. I tried it a couple times before, obviously before I showed this. I haven't done this as a new to me. So there's room for improvement for sure, but it is a fun idea. I did find it on another YouTube page. It's not something original, but I've made my own variation. So when you tie that little knot, you can even hide it in the back, or if you have longer pieces, you can hide it underneath the other pieces of twine. And then I just didn't tie a knot yet because I wanted to see how far down I needed to tie so it didn't really hit the, so it kind of fell where I wanted to. I really just wanted it barely touching the table. So you can tie a knot in the end, and I'm sorry I'm out of view here, but you get the gist. And when you tie the knot and tighten it, we're going to cut off the ends first, and then we'll hide it just like we did on the paper one. We're going to hide that knot underneath all those rolls of that other twine that we rolled up. I hope this is clear. This was hard for me to explain, but hey, I think it's more fun doing it this way. And then last, you just go ahead and cut the loops at the other end. And then trim it, just like we did the paper. I didn't have the best scissors for this, but do your best. And then that's what it looks like on the box. So you could really adjust it while it was on the box too, as you see I'm doing. I just think it's a fun addition to the box, and I think anybody graduating would love this because it's just fun. It has a gift card in it, and it just fits right in the middle. It'll slide in. I was just having a hard time getting it in there. I didn't want to break it. And then you can just close it up, add the hat, and that's it. Now you can just situate the hat the way you want, and once you give it to somebody, they'll be able to lift it, see the gift card, and how fun, huh? I hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you for watching.